Welcome to ACOT's video tutorial series developed to assist you in navigating ACOT's online platform. This is the second of 3 mini tutorials on updating your profile. This second tutorial will provide an overview of how to record and confirm employment information, as well as how to report OT practice or currency hours during registration renewal. You are required to report your current employment status anytime you edit any aspect of your profile, as well as annually when you're renewing your registration. If you are updating your profile during the year, select the employment status option that best reflects your employment status at that point in time. During registration renewal, choose the option that best reflects your overall employment status during the past registration year. When reviewing your employment information, please note that we have a new addition for 2020-2021. You can review your employer's address to confirm that it is correct. If you notice that the address is incorrect, notify the ACOT office, as only ACOT staff can make this change. If there are changes to your title, status, client population, or area of practice with this employer, or if you're no longer working for that employer, click the Yes button to record these changes. Note that if you're entering an end date, the employer will still show up until after you submit your registration renewal, in case you have practice hours you need to record for that employer. If you would like to add a new or additional employer to the list, click the Add button. When adding an employer or work location, enter the first few letters of that employer in the organization text box. Then scroll through the drop-down list to find the one that best matches your employer. If you cannot find your employer or location of work in the organization list, or if you notice that the address for the employer is incorrect, enter the employer name, location, and phone number in the text box. The text box can also be used by OTs who do not already have a private practice listed with ACOT. Please note that ACOT staff will require 3 to 5 business days to validate and approve any new employer or employer address, so be sure to make any employment changes before registration renewal closes on February 28th. When adding an employer, you are required to include information for each of the boxes with a red asterisk. Note that the drop-down list options in each of these categories are described by the Canadian Institute for Health Information for consistency in comparing the OT workforce across the country. Do your best to find the best match for your position, status, practice area, and age range. During registration renewal, you'll be queued to enter practice hours for each employer you've included in your profile, as well as for any practice hours accrued outside of employment. As the practice hour text boxes are also asterisked, you have to enter some number, even if it's a 0. The practice hours accrued for each employer, as well as those accrued outside of employment, will be tallied along with the practice hours you've reported in the previous 4 years. The gray text box describes the currency hour requirements outlined in the Occupational Therapist Profession Regulation. For information on what can be counted as practice hours, click on the blue question mark icon. Once you click on the icon, you'll see that any hours engaged in the practice of OT can be counted. ACOT defines the practice of occupational therapy quite broadly and acknowledges that OTs work in 5 major roles, including clinician, educator, consultant, researcher, and administrator. Also, a recipient of OT services or the client may be an individual, group, organization, system, or combination of these. Volunteer hours or hours worked on a pro bono basis can be counted as practice hours if you're using the title of occupational therapist in that role and are complying with the standards of practice and code of ethics, such as documenting client consent, assessment results, treatment plans, and ensuring the secure retention of those records. Hours worked to support the current pandemic or future pandemics can also be counted. Just don't include hours taken for vacation, medical leave or sick time, or professional development activities completed outside of work time that do not involve directly working with clients. If there are any sections of the profile update page that have not been completed and you press Next or Save, you'll be blocked from proceeding, and the required sections will be highlighted for you in red. Once you have completed the required sections, you'll receive notification that your profile update has been submitted. Remember, updates to your name, credentials, and employer require review and approval by ACOT staff. You'll be notified by email when those changes have been approved, and you can then proceed to registration fee payment. This is the end of the second profile update tutorial. Go back to the CCP resources page to find the link for tutorial number 3 on adding specializations, any registration in one or more jurisdictions, and permitting your contact information to be used by SAOT.